VHS KvLT.
Why? Who even cares? It's just staying home all day, every day.
You know, I'll be honest with you. I feel like my best life would be the life of a hermit. So it's not really bothering me that much right now.
I always thought that would be the case for me too, especially recently. But no, I'm still going crazy.
Yeah, I'm surprised because you really didn't go out that much.
Nah, it's just like not having the option to do anything, I guess, is what it is. I don't like having.
Like, I don't want to. I'm not going to do it if I could, but I would like to be able to.
Yeah, it just like makes everything seem repetitive, and I feel trapped. You know, it's normally it's like it's my choice.
So you just see like the illusion of choice.
Yeah, normally it's my choice not to do anything, but now it's like, oh, now I can't do anything.
The kids are taking it okay so far. James is driving everybody else a little crazy. He spent most of the morning trying to convince his sister that she was a ghost.
Kids is crazy. Did you hear the first new Bright Eyes song in 9 years?
No, I didn't. Did they actually release the song?
Yeah, it's called Persona Non Grata.
I'll have to listen to it after this. Is it good?
Yep, it sounds like Bright Eyes.
Well, there you go.
They did it.
They did it, they're brass.
Did you listen to Bob Dylan's new 17-minute long song?
No, I saw that. I'm like, no, I'm gonna pass on that one, Bob.
Yeah, people are trying real hard to make it seem like it's an important song, but it's just
we all know it's not.
It's just Bob Dylan like listing random shit basically. And you know what I noticed is Bob Dylan's like modern singing in air quotes is he sounds like fucking Adam Sandler doing the hoobada-doobada. But like
yeah, but if he's had like a couple cigars before.
Well, yeah, just like less enthusiasm. Just like hoobada-doobada, hoobada-doobada. Yeah, so fucking Bob Dylan sucks. A murder most foul. They killed him. Oh no, JFK killed him. They killed the fellow.
Oh wait, we start recording. Yeah, good morning, cats and kittens.
Yeah. This is VHS.
I saw a tiger. It was somewhere over there. It saw me.
No, it saw a man.
No, I know, but it saw me, and I was there.
Man,
not singing.
Making fun of his bangers. He's got plenty of hits. Joe Exotic rules. I
mean,
a lot of people are like, that's not him singing, but I don't know. I think it is him singing. I think he's just. Well, that's the thing is his regular speaking voice. I think is a little bit of an affectation, and then so when he sings, he just drops his voice register and sings like a country singer.
Someone was saying that there was a band that he hired to do it, and he just sang over them. But I mean, either way, I don't care. It's still great.
I care because of the authenticity. Joe,
there's nothing authentic about him, though. That's the whole point. God damn it! People see he's a flim flam man.
You know what? Like he's not though. Like I've seen a lot of people trying to compare him to like Donald Trump or something.
Well, no, but he is. He's not like Donald Trump in the same sense. But I mean, he's not. A lot of it's bullshit. You know what I mean? He's a crazy person, but
yeah, that's what I mean. Is it's different because he's not like. It's like all made up, and
he's more like the guy that like tricked the town of Munster into like a religious cult.
Yeah, because it's like instead of him just making shit up, trying to like manipulate people, I feel like he just he's like manifesting his like fantasies into reality.
That's exactly what it is.
I'm telling you, he's a fucking shaman. the society wasn't ready for it.
Money shaman.
Yeah, people are losing their minds about it. They're like, oh, they haven't seen such a powerful shaman in such a long time.
Not since Crassus created his own army to invade Persia.
I was thinking more like George Michael, but yeah. It's fucking whack. I hate it. Fucking hate it. I hate everything right now. I'm been diagnosed with terminal case of
space madness.
The corona crazies. There's no cure except for besitos. Yeah, I'm definitely like looking out my window, sad and lonely, sort of illness right now. What's going on? I just need to get out there and let my gun bang, let my nuts hang.
I'm a predator for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Hello, cat. What did she say? Cats and hello.
Cats. Hey, cats and kittens.
That's it. Hey, cats and kittens.
This is the VHS cult. Today, little Minxie, she shot out an entire human skull. Odd.
That's crazy that so many people are subscribed to her shit. Like, I don't think I would want to get like daily updates from her about fucking cats.
Me either.
Joe Exotic's different. I get daily updates from him, but he'd be like talking about.
Some of them would not be about cats.
Well, yeah, his shit would be like all over the place. Hell yeah, that's some crazy shit to say. Ruby Ridge too, but Joe Exotic was like, it's gonna be another Waco,
but with tigers.
Yeah, I wonder if I have too much in common with weirdos.
Yeah, you ever wonder about that? I realize I do, but I try to keep it in check.
Well, yeah, I'm just like, I don't want to get in trouble for my views, so. Yeah, but sometimes also, I just say shit.
I know.
Oh, well. Speaking of horror, holding up and blasting some fools in the name of survival, this week we watched Night of the Living Dead, but it was the remake from 1990.
With the Candyman.
They came to pay their respects.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Why do you have to be so cruel?
What?
Show some respect.
Now they're running for their lives.
A biologist in Stockton, California have released reports focusing on the phenomenon, specifically on that trance-like state.
Every shelter is becoming a trap.
Are you sure we're gonna be all right?
Cooper, you gotta help me out!
And every road out
Don't stop no matter what happens.
is just another dead end.
They're coming right for us!
George Romero's Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, Tony Todd. Yeah, return. My notes say Return of the Living Dead, which is not
That's a
correct.
different movie.
That's a different, better movie.
At the end, I also have a 1-star review for Tetsuo. I want to give you a little preview. The name of the reviewer is 9/11 Supermom.
What the fuck?
We gotta wait on that one.
It's gonna be crazy. She's definitely not gonna let my nuts hang.
She is offended you even would suggest it.
Night of the Living Dead 1990. This is a remake. It is directed by Tom Savini. That's the godfather of gore.
He's the guy that does those movies with the Romero fella with the makeups and the blood.
Yep, that's him. That's what he does. He's a Pittsburgh guy, just like Romero.
Also, he fought a vampire once. I saw it.
Yep, Sex Machine. Inspired by the film Man of a Thousand Faces, a young Savini became fascinated with the magic and illusion of film. He spent his youth in his room creating characters by tirelessly practicing makeup. Later, as a combat photographer in Vietnam, Savini saw firsthand the gruesome carnage for which he later gained fame, simulating it on screen. So
that's a good way to get education, isn't it?
Yeah, thanks, Vietnam. Savini himself says, I get asked that question a lot. I did see a lot of firsthand anatomically correct gore, and I think the most important part of that was we create a dead body or situation. When we create a dead body or situation, there's a certain feeling you get from seeing the real thing. If I'm creating a gory effect and I don't get the same feeling when I saw the real stuff, I'm not satisfied. That's a little bit crazy, but
Tom Savini's a little bit crazy.
Yeah,
they say nothing good ever came out of Vietnam.
I mean, he revolutionized monster makeup and special effects and shit. So, fucking great job, Tom Savini. It's not just him though. There's also Dick Smith and Rob Bottin.
Dick Smith.
And they're around the same time, also really jump-starting the practical effects that we saw in like 70s and 80s film. But Savini was one of the key effects people behind the makeup and effects scene in like all the fantasy horror genre films in the 1980s and 1990s. Not all of them, but quite a bit. So his big influence, surprisingly, is Lon Chaney.
What?
Yeah, because he wanted to emulate the theatrical makeup effects that were a hallmark of Chaney's career. So Lon Chaney is actually, he's well known for being in early horror movies, wearing like stark makeup, the early makeup effects, and he was a big proponent of the makeup effects and just low budget film effects in general. So it kind of makes sense. Also, Lon Chaney is a striking figure of a man.
Hello, Lon.
So his big breakthrough, of course, is Dawn of the Dead in 1978, and then the very first Friday the 13th. He did not work on another Friday the 13th film until the fifth one.
Which one's that?
Or maybe the fourth one. It's like the one where Jason returns from the dead. He said after the first Friday the 13th, he was like, Jason's a kid who died. Why would he be in the sequel? Anyone who watches that shit is an idiot.
Oh, by the way, I'll be back for one of these later on.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to work with like the team that was doing it.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's kind of how I feel about the Friday the 13th series. Is I don't think the first one's very good either. I think it's kind of boring. But I can understand like how it jump started like the 80s like splatter films and stuff. So that's cool. And then the second one's like a better movie, but it is dumb that Jason's back. And then after that, I don't care about any of them after that. That's why Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street is the best of the superhero horror movies, because there's at least like 3 or 4 good ones. And then only the first Halloween is good. Everything else sucks.
No, what about Halloween 4, The Secret of the Ooze?
Nah, that one's terrible. It's like, that's consumer garbage. You know what I mean? You always see the fools that are hell into horror, and all they do is buy like horror toys and horror posters and horror shirts. And who's your favorite horror icon? And it's always like Pinhead, Michael Myers. And, well, that's fucking garbage. That ain't that real shit. You gotta stay punk rock with it. You can't be a dumb consumer about this shit. Fucking building your identity around some fucking consumer bullshit. And
you're consuming the wrong thing.
Well, and I just think structuring your identity around that sort of thing is kind of weird. Obviously, I'm a big horror fan, and it has had some effects on my identity and stuff like that. But, like I said, I'm punk rock with it. I'm more interested in the artistry and the people that made the films. I don't give a fuck about long-running series, which one's better. You know what I mean? That's just dumb. And then, like I said, most of those movies...
Like I said, Nightmare on Elm Street is the best.
Well, I mean, most of those movies suck. Nightmare on Elm Street is only the best because it has, like, 3 out of the dozen movies are good. It just has a better track record. And it's because Wes Craven's cool. And most of his other movies that aren't Nightmare on Elm Street are better.
Especially that one about voodoo.
Hell yeah. But I am a big fan of Tom Savini there. And he is, in fact, the only man in Hollywood who can claim all 4 titles of stuntman, makeup artist, actor, and director.
Oh.
And the only man who's come close is makeup artist, actor, and stuntman Lon Chaney. Whoa!
Just one away. Tom Savini went up them.
Yeah, he's like, I love Lon Chaney. I must be better than him. It's a real Jesse James and Robert Ford situation. He was actually originally supposed to do the makeup effects for Night of the Living Dead. Him and Romero have been friends since that long. Mm-hmm. But
wow.
Savini enlisted to serve in Vietnam.
Well, that turned out to be a mistake.
Yeah, and then before Dawn of the Dead, he actually worked with George Romero on Martin in 1977, but not too many people know what Martin is. Do you know what Martin is?
I feel like I did once. I don't remember anymore.
It's a kind of a vampire movie that George Romero made. It's pretty good.
I don't know if I ever saw it.
out. Yeah, I don't know. It's not something I saw until I was older. He's, I guess, his other big sort of stuff: Day of the Dead, Creep Show, Maniac, The Burning, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which is better than the first one, I think.
Yeah, I really don't like the first one.
It's
that movie is 100% screaming and like generator noises and chainsaws. That's all it is.
No, I mean it has merits for being kind of groundbreaking at the time, and I do like that it is just like the independent spirit of making whatever the fuck you want. But
that the actors went crazy while they were making it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like boring. This is the problem. It's boring. I think the second one's better. Tom Savini on Film has said, "Film is a truly magical medium. You can create illusions of reality, make people think they've seen things that they really haven't, like blowing a guy's head off with a shotgun." Which that's cool. That's like why I like movies. I think is
you can see guys heads get blown off with shotguns.
That, or more specifically, it's like a magic trick.
There's one effect in this movie that I'm really not impressed with right at the beginning.
Which one's that?
When they kill, what the fuck is the Barbara's brother?
I don't know. Henry.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, we'll go Henry. Henry was a character in the first one, right? In the original, is it Henry? Whatever. Fuck it. Whatever. Barbara, when his head bounces against the gravestone.
It's clearly a dummy. Yeah. I like it though. It's cute because it's like the guy in makeup's riding a dummy. But yeah, her brother's in the first one, but he doesn't survive to the end. He dies in the graveyard.
No, I know, but the guy named Henry, I think there's a dude named Henry in the first one that I think survives to the end. Whatever, my memory is all over the place.
No, all the characters have the same names. So no, he doesn't. There ain't no goddamn Henry.
Oh goddamn it! I haven't seen the 1968 version in like 10 years.
The unburied dead return to life and seek human victims. I actually saw this 1990 version way before I saw Night of the Living Dead, but that's because I somehow saw this version of the movie when I was like 7.
Yeah, I think we watched it when it came on VHS.
Yeah, pretty young. It terrified the fuck out of me. I was afraid of zombies for a long ass time.
I remember when you were like 17 or 18, you had a fucking bat under your bed because of a zombie invasion.
I mean, that's also like intruders and stuff too, but yeah zombies. Yeah, like something about zombies really resonated with me, where it was the most terrifying shit to me possible at the time, and then it was also still like my favorite shit to watch. So my thinking is, rest in peace to Stuart Gordon. He died this week. He has a quote where he says, the reason we love horror so much is it's like a dress rehearsal for death. So basically the idea is, you get like the concept of limit experiences, I guess, where you get to get closer to death, you get a little taste of it. So maybe you're sort of conditioning yourself to accept death a little bit more. So
I feel like I'm close enough to death as it is right now. I don't need to be reminded.
I think that's probably why I like the zombie shit so much, is because it terrified me so much and made me think about my own death. I didn't want to be eaten alive, but then I was so fucking intrigued with it. But then there's also the scientific
grabbing you and all of these old men touching you.
Well, there is also the science observation that there is connectivity between the sexuality and fear.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of horror movies, inadvertently, because I don't think a lot of the horror movie directors early on were aware of this concept, but they do mingle sexuality and fear together to heighten your experience. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I'm a pretty weird, sexual, crazy person anyways. Does it have to do with horror movies, or is that how it's made? I don't know. Only God knows. Only God can judge me. I don't know. Tony Todd's in it. He's the Candyman. He's not the Candyman yet, though.
No, this is way before the Candyman. Well, I guess not way before.
It's like a couple years before Candyman. Because this is 1990. Candyman's like 94? No, 92, I bet.
I'm right in front of the movie. My computer, I can tell you right now. Candyman. 95?
Oh, okay, yes. I remember hearing about it.
Oh, no, 92.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it from kids at school when it came out on VHS.
Me too. Everybody seemed to watch it on VHS.
Yeah. I don't remember people going to the movies too often when we were kids.
I guess that's true.
Candyman, he's also in Platoon. He's great in Platoon, and he's in The Rock. Remember, he's a soldier man.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
But he's got like
welcome to The Rock.
229 acting credits.
Oh Jesus
Christ. Regular ass basic bitches will know him from being on the TV show 24, probably, though, which that's whack.
Oh, shit. Was he on 24?
Yeah, he was like Kiefer's boss or whatever.
I remember him on 20. Oh, shit.
The president or something.
No, he wasn't the president on 24. That was somebody else. You're being racist.
Nah, he's in 24. Well, I never watched 24. I just assumed he was the president because he has that gravitas.
The president was a black dude, but it wasn't Tony Todd.
No, I don't know. He's in it, and
I only remember watching 1 or 2 seasons when we lived when we rented that house. But
yeah, 24 sucks. It was like only after 9/11 could some garbage shit like that get made. What a terrible time! What a terrible like decade of human society. 2000, 2010.
By the way, we got a review from someone coming up for that.
He won the role of Ben in Night of the Living Dead out of many contenders, including Lawrence Fishburne, Ving Rhames, and Eric LaSalle.
Cowboy Curtis?
Yeah, Night of the Living Dead was my first starring role, first lead, and I remember I was in Pittsburgh doing something for HBO Showtime. They were merged at the time. And I remember watching the original at a drive-in and being really impressed that A, you had a black actor on screen played by Dwayne Jones, who was carrying the movie, and B, it was genuinely scary. He had the black and white and it looked like a documentary. So I ran into the office, I found the production office, and I grabbed director Tom Savini by his lapels literally and said, "You got to read me. You got to read me." He tried to tell me I was close. I said, "You got to read me." I just laid it out, and he gave me the job that day. So that was important for me. Later, my son was born, too, during that, and that was significant. So it was more, what basically he's saying is being in Night of the Living Dead 1990 remake was more important than his son being born. That was like an afterthought.
He carried that movie, the remake, too. He was the best actor in it.
Yeah, I mean, he's fucking Tony Todd. That's what I mean. That's why I thought he was the president. He's like got the gravitas. Like, yeah, that's a leader. And he's the Candyman. Patricia Tallman plays Barbara.
That man over there is a tall man. Let's give him a tall man name.
But it's a woman. Patricia Tallman. Apparently she's a longtime collaborator of Tom Savini and George A. Romero. But she's worked with them throughout the 80s and 90s. A lot of her credits are for like stunt stuff. So I think she's mostly a successful stunt woman, which would make sense why she's friends with Tom Savini. Because basically everyone in 1978, in Dawn of the Dead in 1978, weren't technically stunt people, but they kind of became a stunt team just by falling on boxes in the mall and shit. So she's probably been hanging out with them since then. Then we got Tom Towles, who plays Harry. Or they refer to him as Cooper mostly. He's Harry Cooper.
Oh, that might be the guy I was thinking of. The first one that I saw was Henry.
Yeah. He's longtime horror actor. Rob Zombie likes him. Rob Zombie puts him in his movies. I mostly know him as Otis and Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. We got McKee Anderson, who plays his wife Helen. She's got a very short acting career in the 90s. That's about it.
She did this movie.
And then we got William Butler, who plays Tom. He was in Ghoulies too.
Tom. Probably playing almost the exact same character, if I had to guess.
Yeah, probably.
I don't remember him in Ghoulies too, but that seems to be like a Ghoulies type of character.
Just like a kid yelling and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he went on to be more of a writer than an actor or anything like that. He did all the 2000s Return of the Living Dead sequels, like Rave to the Grave and shit. They all fucking suck. And then some Disney trash, like Disney TV channel shit. So his career sucks. But he holds the distinction of being the only actor killed by 3 of the big 4 of horror, which I talked about earlier. Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, and Michael Myers, the big 4 of consumer.
Which did he get?
Consumer bullshit. He's only not been killed by Mike Myers.
He's
Michael
still got time.
Myers, rather.
They're still making Mike Myers movies. He's got a little bit of time.
Yeah, don't worry, they'll keep making those. They'll keep making them shits. And then we got Katie Finneran, who plays Judy Rose. This is her first acting role.
Come on, Judy Rose, just get the board. Stop crying so much.
She's still around. It looks like she just does TV shit though. And then most importantly,
she made much impression on me.
Yeah, I don't know. So those are all the people in the fucking house, the main characters. The most important character, though, is aside from Tony Todd, is Bill Moseley's in this movie. But Bill Moseley This man is Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Long-running horror film actor. He's a horror icon. I mostly know him from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 as Chop Top because he's fucking ridiculous in it. Chop Top.
Chop Top. How many times are you gonna say it? Chop Top.
It feels good to say.
It does, doesn't it? Chop Top.
I guess like now in modern times, he's known for being in all of Rob Zombie's abortions. He plays Otis in the fucking House of 1,000 Corpses, Devil's Rejects, 3 from Hell. That trilogy of bullshit. Rob Zombie, what are you trying to do? You can see like Rob Zombie's enthusiasm and all his reference points, and it's like all shit that like I understand and like, but he just like cannot put together a good movie. It's just so amateurish still. He's been doing it for like fucking 20 years.
Maybe it's just the kind of movie he likes to make. Just really kind of schlocky piece together.
Because he doesn't even like get it right. He's like, he'll make like, so I think his best movie is The Devil's Rejects, which is supposed to be more of like a grindhouse, schlocky exploitation, just violence movie, right? Mm-hmm. But then he incorporates elements in it that are from like other subgenres that throws it off just because like he wants it to be in there. The worst offender, of course, is House of 1,000 Corpses, where he's like, this may be the only time I get to make a movie, so I'm going to throw everything into it until it just becomes like a heaving mess of bullshit. But all of his movies are like that, where like he doesn't have a strong concept or singular vision. He just throws shit into a pile and he's like, here's my movie. It's like, nah, they're letting you make movies now, man. Just pick one concept and stick to it.
I straight up have not seen enough Rob Zombie movies to comment. I've seen House of 1,000 Corpses, which I didn't like that much, and I've seen Devil's Rejects, which is better. But I think that's it. I think I saw his stupid Halloween remake too.
31. I don't know the Halloween remake.
Yeah, the Halloween.
Yeah, I've seen all of his movies. I don't
know why.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
you still want to ride in the back of his Dracula?
Yeah, I like Rob Zombie, and I'm glad someone's out there allowing him to make movies. I just know it's frustrating.
Tighten up your shit.
It's frustrating to me because I can see he's got like some fucking good movies in there. You know what I mean? It's just like fucking do it, pull the trigger on something, you know. But hopefully he'll get there eventually. And then I also just like watching horror movies. So even like the shittiest horror movies, I may end up watching multiple times, you know, just because it comes up. This fella here, the Night of the Living Dead, was originally rated X by the MPAA or NC-17. Yeah, they had
more violence in it.
Yeah, they had to edit out like a lot of extreme gore, like close-ups of like headshots and stuff like that.
I don't know if that makes the movie worse or not.
It makes
like there needs to be a little bit more in there, but
yeah, it makes it worse for me because that's now as an adult knowing about the film going into a Tom Savini movie.
Was it intended to be filmed in black and white?
No, just that opening moonshot. Now it's time for a shocking reveal about this film. Are you ready?
Yes.
Despite the fact that filming was going smoothly and on time and on budget, Monoton Golan and the film's other producers insisted on cutting out other scenes and events to keep costs down. Yeah, as a first-time director, Tom Savini could do little to stop them.
So why did Romero? I assume Romero went to Monoton Golan to make this movie, right?
Tom Savini wanted to do it. He got him and George are friends. George was like, sure, I'll put some money up. I'll help you out. We don't have enough. We get some other producers. Boom, Monoton Golan steps in. But yeah, the shocking reveal is, God damn it, Monoton Golan's back.
I mean, you should have been able to tell from the opening credits. They're pretty prominent.
Yeah. Fucking Monoton. This is after. He's doing this independently of canon film. It's just him throwing up that cash. That sweet cash.
That makes even more sense as to why he's like, no, cut it all out.
Tom Savini's original idea was to start the film in black and white and then slowly add color. But instead it's just...
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah. It would have been like, what's that fucking Tobey Maguire movie where color starts to show up?
Oh, yeah, where they
Pleasantville.
That's not quite the same thing.
No, they do exactly like that. Color starts to show up. And zombies? What the fuck?
Well, we were finally making emotional connections with each other, so now it's color and zombies.
And zombies. Production, not easy for director Tom Savini. He said it was the worst nightmare of my life. Said that only 40% of his ideas made it into the final film. That's kind of what happens when you're a first-time director. And
you're working with Monoton Golan.
Yeah, he's like, are you putting ninjas in it? I don't know how to do an Israeli accent, so imagine.
Oh, I forgot his word. Israeli.
imagine that all with an Israeli accent.
I don't know if I can do an Israeli accent either. Let's just move on.
An interview with Cinefantastique during the film's production, director Tom Savini mentioned the possibility of including a shooting star over the horizon at the beginning of the film. It wouldn't be specified whether it was a satellite or a meteor, but would have been an homage to the Venus probe theory behind the living dead in the original 1968 film. Remember, they referenced the Venus probe passing overhead, coming into our atmosphere, and Night of the Living Dead is just on the radio or whatever. And so a lot of people have theorized that was the cause of the zombies. But we don't ever know because it's not ever mentioned again in any of the Dead sequels.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly,
George Romero's like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, none of the Dead sequels even really go into what caused it.
No, which I think is fine. Like, fuck it. Who cares? I'm here for the zombie action. The scene at the end of the film where several zombies are lynched from a tree and shot at was in fact scripted in the original 68 film, but was cut because of racial tensions gripping the country at the time.
I mean, the ending of the original 68 film was already like kind of, pushing the button enough.
Well, the old 68 film is completely subversive. I was thinking about it. So George Romero was like, a lot of it wasn't intentional. I didn't mean to do this, blah, blah, blah. But like, I think the anxiety and like the pathos of his generation that they were living with at that point, that all leaked into the movie. So maybe he didn't intentionally do it, but it is like a great snapshot of like the anxiety that like these young kids are facing in 1968. You know? That said, the 1990 remake is included on Roger Ebert's most hated list. But Roger, this is a movie just for horror fans who are familiar with Tom Savini and like zombies and shit. It's not like supposed to be a groundbreaking film or anything, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard because like
Roger Ebert doesn't.
The movie doesn't
like
really
that.
need to exist. Like the 68 version is better, and you should, if you're gonna only watch one, you should watch the 68 version, I guess. But I don't know. I kind of get where Roger Ebert's coming from.
Nah, my thing is like obviously 68 film is better. It's like a groundbreaking work of cinema, changed the horror landscape forever, changed independent film forever. It's like one of the most important films of all time, probably, in my opinion. Obviously, this one's not going to live up to it, but it's just like George Romero's friend, Tom Savini, who you all know and love, making like a fan version of it. It's like cute and fun. I don't think it's a film that should be hated. It's just.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that.
I don't take it that seriously, Roger Ebert. Roger Ebert doesn't know shit about horror movies anyways. That's my biggest complaint about it.
My biggest Roger Ebert complaint.
He doesn't understand it. If you want like a critic to follow along with an understanding of like exploitation, horror, genre film and stuff, just listen to Joe Bob Briggs. Now he's an old man. TBS. Yeah, Monster Vision. Yep. That's how I saw. Well, quite a few of the movies we've watched on the VHS cult. I mean,
TBS and like TNT
on Monster Vision,
and to no lesser extent, like Turner Movie Classics used to show just a lot of old schlock.
Yeah, so,
even without Joe Bob being there.
Yeah, but for me, Monster Vision specifically is like if I wouldn't be able to sleep at night when I was a kid, I was
hang out with Joe Bob. You've always
I just hang out with Joe Bob and watch Monster Vision, and for some reason. When I was a kid, like mostly only zombies and like pretty much just zombies scared me. Even back then, like most horror movies weren't super scary to me. They might like bother me for a few days, but like even as a kid, I was like not upset to be scared. It was more like I need to overcome being scared. But even watching Monster Vision as like a little kid, just because it was like Joe Bob was there talking about the movie and cracking jokes about it, it made it like not scary at all, no matter like what the movie was. So that's why I love Joe Bob. He's fucking dope. He had a big impact on me as a child. What do you think? Obviously, it's not as good as the 68 film.
I don't know.
And I think it can be argued it didn't need to be made.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It didn't. I don't even know if I really like the way they changed the ending. Barbara's part is fine. I don't know.
Well, what Savini specifically went into it wanting to fix, in air quotes, Barbara's character, because Barbara is like terrible in Night of the original one. I don't mean she's terrible just because she's terrible. I mean she's written terribly in the original one. And so Tom Savini wanted to go in and be like, have it be a strong female presence in the film. without taking away from the Ben character, which I think he did a good job with.
No, that part, yeah, he's all fine up until like the very end. You know what I mean? I don't have any problem with the way they change Barbara's character, or how like she ends up, because in the original movie she just gets kind of like snatched away by the zombies at one point, right?
Yeah, it's towards the end she's gone. Yeah,
and she's kind of always been hysterical.
Yeah, she just screams and yells. She's like not the main.
So
character
I actually really liked Barbara's character a lot in this movie, but I just don't I don't know. The ending didn't do it for me.
Well, here's the thing. My problem with the ending, and it has to do with how zombie films are usually societal criticisms, as started maybe accidentally by the original Night of the Dead. So I think it would have been good to have Ben still be alive at the end and still get killed by the hillbillies, because guess what? We hadn't solved racism in 1990.
Hey, guess what? It's 2020. I don't know if you've noticed we haven't solved it.
Yeah, so I think it would have been important to still stick that in there.
Yeah, me too. I guess that's what I'm upset about, is that they kind of cop out on the Ben ending.
Yeah. I do like that she's just straight up murders Harry Cooper, though. It's like, yeah, fucking die, you asshole.
Piece of shit. You basically didn't care about anybody but yourself? Yes.
And one thing I love about this movie and the original is the expediency of the story. Like, the pace is just like, you know what I mean? We got an hour and a half. We're going to make a movie. Let's go. All right. Graveyard. Get to the farmhouse. Meet Ben.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of story in like the first 15 minutes.
Board that shit up. Oh no, zombies attack. Oh, we gotta get out of here.
Oh no, humans are the real enemy. Oh no.
People start dying. End of the movie. You know what I mean? It's not like fucking montages of people enjoying the mall or a zombie baby being born or anything.
Fuck, I cannot stand the Dawn of the Dead remake. I really don't like it.
I rewatched it again this week. And Train to Busan and this and yeah, the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Take the last train to Busan and we'll meet you at the station. I can be there by brains.
Yeah, the Dawn of the Dead remake, after like the first 15 minutes, you just turn it off.
That's true. It's pretty good up until when they settle into the mall.
Yeah, even the opening like shit now is like getting kind of dated too, and since it just relies on action and special effects, it's going to be irrelevant in like 10 years. Fucking there you go, Zack Snyder. Pretty much every film you made just becomes irrelevant after a few years.
Wasn't he doing like a live Batman and Superman commentary today or some shit?
For real?
I think he was on like some sort of streaming service.
I do not care about that at all.
Just wonder what he fucking said.
It's crazy to me that that movie became like a niche fucking cult film for the fucking two most popular superhero products of all time.
It's because it was so bad.
Yeah, but people are just fucking trying so hard to love it. You just didn't understand it.
It's the antithetical Marvel movie. Don't you understand?
They both have a mom named Martha. You don't get it. And the Doomsday shows up. You don't get it. Wonder Woman's there.
Why? We don't know.
The last 30 minutes is a toy commercial. You don't get it. Oh, well. Who cares? They're just trying to sell merchandise anyways. So Warner Brothers is still doing all right. They're making another Batman anyways.
That car looks cool, though. I saw that.
Yeah, it looks like the Interceptor from Mad Max. That's why it looks cool. Yeah, they don't got any new ideas. I think people are gonna like the new Batman, but it's gonna be like in the reality of it is gonna be like a complete waste of time. It's not gonna present any new ideas or anything like that. It's just gonna be a return to form, as it were, so that they can reset it back to like the Nolan era of Batman having respect. You know what I mean? Yeah, because you got safe products, man. Safe products. That's all the people want. We need to consume products, and then they must be safe. Nothing may deviate from the norm. It needs to be a friendly, wonderful, non-confrontational consumer experience, and that's all that matters. Batman. Because Batman's got nothing to say about society or the human condition.
I don't know, man. Like, these fucking giant comic book movies are never gonna have anything to say. It's like,
yeah. Well, yeah,
you can kind of argue like some of the Nolan movies said some things, but not anything super new or important.
No, Nolan. As I probably get a lot of flack for this if anyone ever listens to our podcast. Nolan's one of the most heartless directors that's ever been. Everything he does is really mechanical and inhuman. Like, I don't think there's anything the Batman trilogy has anything to say. I think it is straight up just like, here's a cool action movie, and most of his movies are like that. Like The Prestige is his movie that has the most heart, and that's just because it's based off a book that already existed.
Yeah, he changed a lot from the book.
Like his fucking World War II movie, it is like the most like cold, callous war movie I've ever seen. It just seems to be about how awesome like fucking boats and shit are and airplanes.
Boats are cool though. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I think Christopher Nolan's a sociopath and doesn't understand human beings at all.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think a lot of people in positions of power are sociopaths.
Yeah. Well, David Fincher gets accused a lot of having like cold mechanical films and stuff, like that being his style.
No, that's kind of fair.
But I just do not see how people don't catch that Christopher Nolan makes like the most monochromatic, like it's like a robot makes this movie.
What are you talking about? The man, Leonardo DiCaprio in Inception wanted to see his children, I think.
I guess, or he missed his wife, or he used his wife, or...
Well, he definitely, there was all that wrapped in there. It was a real complicated relationship they had.
Yeah, but it's like, no, they were just going on a cool dream heist. You know what I mean? Everything else is like so like second fiddle.
Yeah, it was just like that was all just kind of set dressing.
Yeah, everything is like set dressing to like Christopher Nolan. Like
he built a tube.
Check out this cool action scene, well, except for with an English accent.
Check out this cool action scene.
Yeah, so Return or Night of the Living Dead remake didn't need to be made. But at least Tom Savini loves film and people and seems like a good human being, not like Christopher Nolan. This is basically a mannequin.
He might be overstating, but I'm going to let it slide.
This is what this podcast is about. It's about hot takes about shit people like. People need to be constantly informed that the stuff that they think they like, there's actually a lot of problems with it. And I'm going to tell them why. All
right, let's talk about why there's a problem with Tiger King.
Oh, nothing wrong with Tiger King. I mean, yeah. So the Netflix like docuseries pipeline is a little bit sketchy and everything.
Yeah, kind of like exploitative, but whatever. I'm into it.
That's the problem. But these people were doing this shit anyways. You know, Netflix is there like late to the party anyways. So all this shit was happening before Netflix got involved. In fact, I think they just bought someone else's documentary anyways. Like,
yeah, this show's all over by the time Netflix got involved. I think.
Yeah. So we put that aside, and that means Tiger King, perfect. Except for there's when it comes to like these internet weirdos and shit like that like builds on the internet and becomes part of like internet lore, I would like for the mainstream not to touch it. Like, I think it'd be better if someone just made a documentary series online about Joe.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm opposed to mainstream in general. Did you end up watching Train to Busan, speaking of consumerism?
I did not watch Train to Busan.
Oh.
I watched it, I watched like, 4 years ago? 3 years ago when it came out on Blu-ray?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since then.
Yeah, Train to Busan, speaking of the social meetings or societal meetings in zombie movies, which kind of, that's another problem with the remake in general, aside from the ending, is this one's more about having fun with gore and zombies and shit. And not so much like anxiety or stress-inducing, causing you to think about the world.
I don't know, all those broadcasts about what the CDC was saying versus what the local doctors were saying were giving me stress and anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of relative to the moment now. Yeah. But I was thinking like, our government, our society in the United States is fucking up real bad with the current pandemic. But the fucking zombie pandemic is perfect for the United States, because we would have that shit handled in it'd be a couple weeks of the Living Dead, you know.
Oh yeah, but I mean, in that time frame, 30 million people would die.
I don't think so. So I think it's way too exaggerated at the end of this remake, like how it's basically like fucking Rifle Woodstock You know, everyone's just so psyched to kill their neighbors and shit.
Yeah.
But I do think like there's so many contingents of the United States where like, yeah, there would be people out there. They'd probably be like gritting their teeth a little bit having to kill their neighbors, but there's so many fucking guns in the United States, especially if it's these slow ass zombies. And like how the Brazilian cartels are like shutting down the favelas because the government's not handling it. Like organized crime in the United States would probably do that shit in urban areas. Like you fucking have like the fucking.
I don't know. Like, here's my thing. Like, yeah, there's a lot of guns in the United States, but if you really you have to hit them in the head to kill them, most people that have a lot of guns aren't that good of shots. You know what I mean? Like, there's a small contingent that are probably amazing, but most people don't practice enough.
Yeah, but that's just like ancillary protection for like the very beginning. As soon as the army's like mobilized, it's fucking over for the zombies. That's why I mean it'll be like a week.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Like the problem is, as you see, like who's in charge depends on what get mobilized and where. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, but the problem with this is you can't with the coronavirus is you can't shoot it with guns.
We'd be okay.
Zombies you can shoot with guns. So any fucking American president, I don't give a fuck how dumb or shitty they are, is gonna be like, oh, we can shoot with guns. We have plenty of guns. Go get them, and they'll be. Happily,
I just don't think it's gonna play out that way. But
happy to kill millions of Americans. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's another thing I like about this in the original, where it is kind of just one night of the Living Dead. Because I don't think these slow ass zombies or zombies in general would be actually really be that big of a threat to society.
I think society would collapse after it was over. You know what I mean?
I think there'd be.
I don't think it goes as smoothly as you're laying out here. I think maybe it's quick, but at the end, shit is fucked.
Oh yeah, I mean there'll definitely be like societal problems afterwards. I just don't think The Walking Dead or a lot of these zombie movies where it's like just the apocalypse forever. I
always like the Shaun of the Dead ending where the life kind of goes back to normal eventually.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean that's the thing. Is like,
but it was not like it's complete. I don't know. It's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be as smooth. Or this is stupid anyways. It's never gonna happen. But
yeah, I don't know. My point is just like the initial event of zombies. I don't think zombies could take over the world is my thing. That's why
I guess I agree with that. I just don't think it's. I don't think it's a quiet, smooth. We handled this in one night, guys. We're good to go.
Well, no, I mean, even in the world of Night of the Living Dead, disregarding the sequels that come afterwards, just what's set up in the original film and stuff is obviously it's like there's going to be more to it afterwards. You know what I mean? It's not like, all right, we just ran out there and killed all our neighbors and fucking everything's fine now. We won't ever have to worry about zombies again or have to figure it out or worry about all the population that's gone. You know what I mean? All that shit's in there, really. Because that's kind of the whole point of the film is we're eating each other alive. Mostly old people are eating the young, but that's explored, or not even explored. That's just explicitly shown to you in Train to Busan. Remember when one of the older ladies opens one of the cabin doors and lets the zombies in to kill everyone? Yeah, old people letting the young die. Just because.
Well, right now it's
the
young refusing to stay at home. And I guess I've seen old people out too. Everybody's fucking crazy.
Well, the thing is, there's a lot of people.
Everybody's very individualistic and actually doesn't care about anybody but themselves, and that's the real problem.
I think that might be a problem with some people. I think there's a lot of people that it's not possible for them not to go to work. You know.
Well, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about people like hanging out in a grocery store and shit like that. I'm not talking about going to work. I'm talking about people going to like the golf resorts or just going to restaurants. Or hanging out on the beach. There's tons of young people hanging out on the beach in Florida.
Yeah, that's just dumb American shit. Well, I don't think they're there now because spring break's over, but they were there.
Well, I think I saw a picture of like the beaches, like one county is shut down and one isn't, and so you see the beach empty on one side and then completely full on the other side.
Oh yeah, I saw that picture. Yeah, so I don't
think it's an old versus young problem. I think that generally people don't really think much outside of beyond their personal bubble.
I think that
the people are going to be real shocked when this coronavirus really hits because we're still about 2 or 3 weeks away from the peak.
Oh yeah, we're just trailing behind Italy, except for worse, escalating quicker. I think that might be a uniquely American problem where people are way too individualistic.
I don't think so, but I mean I think it might
or
be
it's,
more of a problem in America, but you see it everywhere.
Yeah, well, the United States is the most glaring example of it. We're absolutely the worst about it. And
I think that's just, we say that because we live here, but
I mean, it seems to be there's anecdotal evidence if you compare just regular policy decisions to other countries or quality of life. There's all sorts of metrics that.
I could argue that if you want. I feel like people that say that really don't know much about like European politics.
Well, I mean, yeah. So there's problems with the European Union and then individual states in the European Union and then states out. Yeah, I mean, there's problems in every country, but there is a specific mentality that seems to exist in the United States that doesn't seem to come through in other countries. I guess I can't say that for sure, not having lived in other countries for any extended amount of time, but there is a specific American identity that's been around since the forging of America that seems to be detrimental to collective society.
I don't know. I guess my whole point, I would still argue that it's not an American problem uniquely.
Selfishness is a problem in general, but I think it's been magnified in the United States through the mythology we created.
We got really far afield.
I mean, not really. This is all relevant to Night of the Living Dead, I think. Obviously, this isn't addressed specifically, and maybe these exact thoughts weren't on George Romero's mind at the time when he made it, but it did. That's like the anxiety of the late 60s is similar to what people are experiencing now, like, except for wealth inequality is worse now than the 60s, obviously.
Yeah. The one thing I'm curious to see is like if our culture completely changes the way we handle like social interactions after this is all over. Because like a big reason, like China and Korea and Vietnam and like those places in Southeast Asia wear face masks is because of SARS, and they had such a big problem with SARS when it didn't really hit the Western society as much.
Yeah, that's a good example to bring up too. And they also generally wear the face masks to protect other people,
right?
And that's like a different. Like the United States doesn't have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, their impetus to start doing that was a
societal event.
Yeah, a societal event.
Well, no, I thought it was pretty common in like Japan and South Korea and stuff way before SARS.
Yeah, maybe, but I think SARS is when it really. That's my recollection, but I could be wrong.
And somehow we need to change the mythology. We need more Night of the Living Deads to come out. Except for there's not ever going to be a movie like Night of the Living Dead again. In fact, they're probably.
What are you talking about? They remade it like 10 years ago, like a 3D kind of thing, right?
2006 3D Night of the Living Dead. It was fucking hilarious to go.
I never watched it.
We got high and shit, watched it in the theaters.
I thought wasn't I invited to go with you guys, or was that somebody else?
Yeah, it ended up just being me, Stephanie, and Jason, I think. Or was it Jason? I don't know. It was me, Stephanie, and someone else.
I remember. I'm like, no.
Well, I mean, it is obviously going to be terrible. You know what I mean? That's when you go to see it, just like, yeah, this is going to be like a weird, like fucking garbage movie. Let's check it out.
At this point, there's not going to be another movie like Night of the Living Dead because there's not going to be any more movies.
Well, it just says direct to video, or not direct to video, but
video on demand. VODs.
I mean, fucking new movies are just getting streamed to the movie theater, anyways. Cut out the middleman, I guess.
I'll need to buy a projector so I can go in the backyard and project against my house.
Yeah, but my thinking was I've been reading recently about how completely unfunded the arts are in the United States.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so in addition to capitalism run rampant and the studio system taking over movies and everything being completely profit driven, there's also
all the public funding has been stripped away.
Yeah, there's just like not also any opportunity for any new voices to really enter into the environment of film. So yeah, there's probably not ever going to be a ground shaking independent horror film ever made again. So that's awesome. I guess the times have changed, huh? That's society for you. Night of the Living Dead. I guess that's another reason why I like zombie movies is because they always, even if they're bad, they force you to think about Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living Dead forces you to think about societal ills. So you watch Dawn of the Dead and you're like, this fucking sucks. Remember Night of the Living Dead? It was about something.
Oh, this one has a zombie baby though.
Yeah. Now that I've been reading more about George Romero's quotes and the surrounding circumstances of the Night of the Living Dead, for a long time I was convinced that like he was just downplaying like the active choices he made it in making it subversive.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of convinced now that it was, and this might make it even better for me now, is I'm kind of convinced that it was just all the pressure and anxiety of society at the time that he was experiencing, and it like manifested in him, and like all the pieces came into play where it like manifested perfectly to be this major subversive film. Like he didn't realize what he was putting to film, but all those anxieties and the terror of the time like came through into it. It's like spirit photography, I guess. We got that
willed into being.
Yeah, there's ectoplasm all over this film.
Ugh.
So that's my review and endorsement of the original Night of the Living Dead. For the remake, if you like Tom Savini and horror movies and you just want to like watch a fun zombie movie, just watch the remake.
Yeah, I'm like, that's my, like, if you're gonna, you know, if you have time and you're in quarantine, you need some time to kill, I guess watch it, but I would rather watch the 68 version.
Yeah, you definitely choose the 68 over this one, and 68's in public domain, so you can watch it like anywhere. But yeah, this one's like I said, if you're like me and you've seen like every zombie movie ever made, and sometimes you just want to watch another zombie movie, and you're like, I haven't seen this one in a while, you can watch the Night of the Living Dead remake.
It's got Candyman.
Or if you're like me and you have a podcast where you only watch films from a certain time period, so you can't watch Night of the Living Dead. You watch Night of the Living Dead remake.
All right, you ready for 9/11 Supermom's review of Tetsuo the Iron Man?
Yeah, is it 9/11 like 9/11?
No, it's 911. But then I clicked on the picture and it was like, you know, fire dispatch, and so I assume it's 9/11. So that's what we're going with.
Oh, well, no, maybe she works for the 911 dispatch.
Maybe, whatever. It's a difference.
But like anyone could work for the 911 dispatch, but like,
only one person could be a 9/11 Supermom.
Well, yeah, like someone whose name is 9/11 Supermom is going to be way different than someone who's just proud to work at 911 dispatch.
So this could just be the dispatch. I believe it is just a dispatch woman, but
okay.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. Okay. I'm all about out there kind of movies. Always a great start. I also fully understand the artistry, cinematography, and the use of certain camera tricks and leaving certain things up to the imagination when it comes to these kind of movies. I love horror. I love indies. I love sci-fi. This movie sucked. For all it says it is in the description, in other reviews I read about it, I decided to give it a try. I wish I hadn't. I even stuck with it all the way to the end, just in case at some point it made sense or explained whether he was just, there's a Y there, insane in imagining half the crap in the movie, or if he was able to accomplish what I thought he set out to do. What did he set out to do? It was dismal, didn't make sense half the time, and gave me a headache. Not the artistry it claimed to be. Skip this one. You'll thank yourself for it. Okay. The end.
I like how she had to preface all that stuff because she's like, I realize that this movie's celebrated for certain things, so let me cover all that ground first. Usually these things I like.
Well, I just think everybody has to like. I always feel like everybody has to list their
bona fides,
their credentials and shit before they answer anything.
Not me. I'm like, listen, I'm just a fucking loser, but Marvel movies suck. I mean, so the thing is, like, I absolutely understand why people don't like Tetsuo, especially normal people walking around doing everyday shit, watching regular movies and TV shows and stuff. And like, it's not like she said anything particularly offensive, which makes me think she's not a 9/11 supermom. Just a dispatch supermom. But come on, I know this narrative is a little bit impressionistic in the movie, but it's also like pretty fucking simple. He hits the metal fetishists, he gets the metal zit, and then metal takes over his body and they become metal gods. What is there not to get? It's a little bit out there, but it's, pretty simple. I don't know. I don't hold that review against her at all. It is like a kind of like confrontational movie. And like she said, it kind of gave me a headache, and it's like, yeah, it is really.
Yeah, I got it. That part I understand. I got a headache with the movie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When I, like the week before we watched it, I remember I like had a little I prefaced a little bit like, yeah, a lot of people aren't gonna like this movie. I totally get it. That is the thing. Like, I know it is that one quote we had about it where it was like a Novocaine-less tooth operation, and it seems like it should be a cartoon, but since it's not, it makes it even more disturbing. It's like absolutely what it is. Like, it is a movie that makes people uncomfortable and it's hard to watch. So I get it if people don't like it. That said, I'm skeptical of her bona fides because I feel like you would think she'd just be like, not my kind of horror movie, and then move on. But then I also don't understand people who leave reviews for movies like on any website or any shit unless you're getting paid for it.
Yeah, well, like I said, most of the time they're like 1 or 2 sentences. You got to really hunt and peck for the long ones.
Yeah.
So shockingly, this is the only long 1-star review. Actually, this is the only 1-star review on Amazon, I think, for Tetsuo. But there was only like 30 reviews, so that's probably why.
Yeah, it's also because Tetsuo is not going to be a movie I think Amazon advertises.
Yeah, no, not for sure.
So it's going to be people that, like she said, the algorithm has adjusted to her taste watching, so Tetsuo kind of came up, or people kind of looking for Tetsuo, right?
Yeah. I feel like you're not going to stumble on Tetsuo. At least not in normal circumstances.
Not anymore now. Back in the day when you go to the horror section at a fucking Blockbuster, yeah.
And there's only 50 movies and you've seen them all.
Yeah, but not anymore now. Fucking Amazon's got everything. You can watch Swamp Thing, I think.
Why wouldn't you want to watch Swamp Thing?
Good question. We'll watch it eventually.
What are we watching next?
Next week, though, we're watching Wolfen.
Wolfen? Steppenwolfen?
He's the Wolfen. Remember in Aqua Teen Hunger Force? He is the Wolfen. Yeah, so we watched Wolfen. It's 1981, little spooky there werewolf movie, I guess. Yeah, it's a werewolf movie. I guess. It absolutely is.
I mean, I feel like you should know if you're going to suggest it.
Yeah, it's a werewolf movie in the big city. Werewolf in the big city.
It's not Silver Bullet, though.
No. Or The Howling.
Ooh, The Howling's a good one.
Or American Werewolf in London. We'll watch them all eventually. The 80s were actually a pretty good time period for werewolf movies.
My favorite period for werewolf movies were the early aughts when we got those vampire werewolf movies. Good stuff. Or
the Wolfman remake with not Antonio Banderas, with Benicio del Toro.
Oh, I forgot about that thing. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it was a fucking cinematography in that movie is really good.
Oh wait, I did see that movie,
but it is pretty dumb.
Yeah, well, the only part I remember is the transformation into the werewolf being really gross.
Yeah. Not as gross as Wolf Cop, though. Wolf Cop has the best werewolf transformation because you get to watch his penis rupture.
That's the best thing.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's like one of those weird, cheesy practical effects where you're just like, this is fun. I'm having fun. Yeah, so the Wolfen's better than the Wolfman remake, though. Even though, the cinematography will be a bit different. But it does have returning hero Albert Finney. We haven't seen him since Miller's Crossing. He's going to be back.
Oh, man. It's Albert Finney's on.
Yep. So get yourself excited, VHS Cult, and head on over to VHSCult.com and then rate and review the podcast. Tell your friends and family about it. Let's get that shit out there. Leave YouTube comments for us, not on our YouTube, but go to other YouTube videos that are popular. Just talk about VHS Cult, shit like that.
Just link it, post it everywhere. It doesn't matter where.
Yeah.
If you get banned from a website or a message board or a forum or anything like that, it's worth it.
Yeah, just do real guerrilla shit. I don't care. Your Discord servers, whatever you kids are up to, do a TikTok about it. Fucking who cares? The new Perfume Genius song has become a TikTok meme. Fucking whack. Kids are crazy.
TikTok.
I saw someone send a DM to Perfume Genius on Twitter, and it was just like, hey, you guys, does a TikTok song? And it's like, really?
Yeah, apparently I am.
Kids these days, I don't know about Perfume Genius. That's wild. Kids is crazy. They don't know shit. All they know is not go to school, make memes about not going to school, eat hot chip, and lie. Whatever. If you're a kid listening to this, though, I don't think the fucking Zoomers listen to podcasts. I think it's all 30-year-old losers. Yeah, young kids is crazy.
Are they? I think the kids are all right.
Oh yeah, they're fine. I'm sure. It's just
Kids have always been crazy.
Yeah, I don't have any complaints about the younger kids. Not any complaints that I don't also have about the same people my age group and people older. My complaint about most people is rampant consumerism, letting their identity and their purpose in life be wrapped up in consumer products. So thanks for listening to my Thanks for listening to our podcast about consumer products.
Well, some of these are real indie love fest. You know what I mean? A lot of heart.
I mean,
like maybe 5.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the movies we've watched aren't, and also film was different in the 70s and the 80s. It wasn't so consumer driven. Obviously, there's a profit motive. Otherwise, you wouldn't have groups like the Canon Film Group and shit. But generally, there's people making movies just because they want to make a movie. Where does art end and consumerism begin? And in the 70s and 80s, I think it was a bigger stretch from art to consumerism, not like kind of how it is today, or has been for like the last 15 years, 20 years. I think the last time film mattered was...
The problem with film, like we talked about this before, is that because of the industry and the way it's become, and like the type of money that people have to spend on going to the movies, it's created a situation where only like well-known products are going to get made.
I think that's the main cause, though. I think that's a contributing factor, but I think the way our culture has developed within my lifetime has made people really scared. And so they retreat into things that they're already really feel safe and comfortable with continually.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly true. But I mean, that's happening across the industry, and it's not unique to film. You know what I mean? Like they're doing remakes of everything and TV shows.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is culture in general has gotten kind of weird, and my biggest concern is with the film industry, just because I like movies so much.
Can I also,
but it is
one of my real big beliefs on this is like the way IP laws have been written over the last 100 years has a big factor on why we don't see a lot of new products, new art, you know what I mean? Like new ideas.
Yeah, and then like for example, they kept making Fantastic Four movies just to reset the fucking copyright.
I mean, I didn't even necessarily talking about that shit either. But like, just the fact that no Disney films are in public record at this point.
No, they aren't. Right?
They should be.
They keep doing copyright extensions. Mickey Mouse was almost public domain, right?
Yeah, public domain, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just it, but like Sherlock Holmes is public domain at this point. But
Night of the Living Dead is. That's because of a mistake with the copyright.
Yeah, I forgot to file some paperwork.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of literature is in public domain, and yet I guess you're paying for the printing when you go buy the physical copies of it.
Those books are usually cheaper too than a lot cheaper. And also, if you want, you can go to like the GutenbergProject.org, and they're all available online for free.
Yeah. Oh well, I guess that's this VHS cult. We talk about random shit.
This is a crazy one.
Ostensibly, it seems like our show's about 80s movies, but that just doesn't even scratch the surface. I don't know. I can't. Is it because I'm like paranoid and I read into shit too much, or is it? I can just see the tendrils of like culture and society in movies, and they always like inspire like something else that I've noticed recently. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I get it.
I don't know. We're not a particularly critically academic criticism of film, I guess, at all. It's just more like, how do movies make me feel?
I think people that actually get critically academic about film are watching, so
I think it'd be interesting with certain films where the intention is there. But yeah, when people like are super academically critical of like like if someone tried to do that for this Night of the Living Dead remake, I'd be like, well, I don't think there's that much to it, unless you're just gonna go back and talk about the '68 film and the differences. But who knows? anything can happen on YouTube. I'm sure there's a video essay about the Soviet propaganda in Night of the Living Dead remake and some shit.
It's there.
I'm sure someone saw it. Just like fucking The Shining is about landing on the moon or not landing on the moon. Alright, I guess we rambled enough. VHS Cult, that'll do it. Tune in next week for the Wolfen. Twitter, VHSCult.com.
Outside.